What's up everyone, and welcome back to Big T Outdoors. Today we're going to be doing an unboxing and a quick review and setup of our new Marmot tent. Hey, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, make sure you smash that subscribe button down in the corner and make sure you hit the bell notification to get notified of all our future videos. You're going to help us bring better product and better videos into the future. Now, let's get rolling into the video. Alright guys, we're out at On the Ridge Farms and we're going to be showing you an unboxing and a quick review of our new Marmot tent. Now, we bought the Fortress 3-person tent. This is a pretty lightweight tent for the size and the structure. Now, is this a long-range backpacking ultra light tent? By no means no. They advertise at 5 pounds 15.6 ounces. Is it light enough for me to throw in a pack if I'm going to hike a mile or two into somewhere and set up a nice tent that I want to be sturdy? Absolutely. Is it something I'm going to hike 15 miles into a canyon somewhere and try to set up? Absolutely not. And you're probably not going to see me hiking 15 miles into a canyon anyway. So that's why this tent is perfect for me. The most I'm going to be doing is a couple mile hike. I can afford to carry a little bit heavier tent that's going to have a little bit better features and a little bit more room. So we have not even opened this yet. I have not even opened the package that it came in. So we're going to be doing a true unboxing for you guys right ahead. Now, one of the reasons that I chose the Marmot Fortress 3-person, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, I assume it's Marmot, is 3-person. If me and my wife both go, a 2-person tent will fit us both, but it's going to be snug. We're not going to have room inside for the gear or anything like that. At least I know with a 3-person, if both of us go camping, we have enough room that both of us are going to have, we're going to be comfy inside the tent. We're not going to be crammed. And if we need to bring the gear inside the tent, if we're hunting and we want to keep our guns inside the tent, I'm not going to have to worry about that. I'm going to have plenty of room. So I'll take a little bit of added weight to go with that 3-person. They do make the the tungsten model of this same tent. It's the exact same frame. The only difference is it is an all mesh body tent. This is a full canvas body tent, or a full nylon body tent, so it doesn't have all mesh. Now, it still has mesh doors and has mesh openings to allow ventilation, but this is more of your 3 to 3.5 season tent. I don't really know if I would consider it a 4-season tent, where the tungsten is more of a 2-season, maybe 3-season. It gets pretty cold in the fall months and early spring months, where I think this one here is going to be a little bit more comfortable if we're doing some fall hunts and we want to go camping. And not to mention, we want to start bringing you some more reviews on some of our camping gear. So we're going to be doing some overnight camping just somewhere close. You know, we're going to hike in too far. We'll do some overnight camping out in the woods somewhere and do some product testing of some of our camping equipment for you too. And this is a tent we're going to be using for that. So I wanted to get something that's going to be pretty decent. It's easy to take down and set up. And it's going to be something that I can throw in the bottom of my backpack and carry in fairly simple. So we bought this for around $300. And again, we're not sponsored by Marmot. We did not, nobody gave us this tent. This is just our 100% honest review. We bought this with our own money and we're going to unbox it and give you a review. All right, now like I said, I have not even opened this bag yet, so let's get it open and find out what all comes in the bag. So that's everything that's in the bag as of right there, nothing else inside of here. All right, so let's unroll our tent here. They have it tied up nice. Let's undo that. Let's roll it out. So we have our tent pole bag here, our stakes and guy lines here, and then we get into our tent body, and this is obviously our Rainfly. So that's pretty well everything that's in here. This is our main tent body. So let's go ahead and set our tent stakes and everything off to the side, and let's stretch out our tent body a little bit here. And as you can see, this is a pretty decent sized tent. So we're gonna have a lot of room in here. Even with 2 people, it's not gonna be cramped. So let's go ahead and open our stake bag, or our tent pole bag up. And again, I didn't pre-open this, so I gotta get some packaging out of the way here. Set that under here so it doesn't blow away. So from everything I've read, it's pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, these are just a push-fit pole, and they are, as you notice, pre-bent. That's not a shipping issue. They're pre-bent so that it gives your sidewalls a little bit of a straight-up angle. Right down where your head and feet are. What that does is it actually gives you a little bit more roomy feel inside that tent when you're laying down. We actually have where these are pre-connected in the center with a swivel, which is actually pretty nice. So then you can just set the centers together. So let's connect that. Get those ones across. That's pretty well it right there. So let's stretch it across our tent here. And then we're just gonna hook in our 4 corners. What's nice is they give you a nice eyelet here, so there's no staking it down into anything. There's a nice peg on the end of here and a nice thick brass eyelet that it goes into. I really like that. Their construction's really nice. I've read some awesome reviews on these tents, and they're a really well built tent for the money. Now, obviously, I can go out and I can buy a $600 or $700 tent that's going to be a lot better than this, but I don't have the need for anything quite that extreme. Oops, let's get back in this here. All right, so now that we have our main structure up, we're just going to clip the quick clips onto the poles themselves. And now what we have is we have one pole that goes toward the center to give us loft on our roof. So let's go ahead and set that up. So now we have our pole set up for the loft on our roof. Now, if it's going to be decent weather out, you can absolutely just leave this tent how it is. You don't have to have the Rainfly on. But just for demonstration purposes, we're going to go ahead and put the Rainfly on here in a minute. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple features that it has. We do have a zippered opening at the top up here. Now, it does not have mesh in it. It is just completely open. But when you put that Rainfly on, that's going to give you a lot of extra ventilation. There's also one along the bottom. It is hard to see, and I'll maybe try to turn this tent here so you can see it. You'll see this whole patch right here is one big, basically a vent, and it is meshed. What's nice about that is it's either right next to your head or your feet, depending on which way you want to lay in this tent. But it gives you an awesome amount of ventilation across the bottom of the tent, up under the Rainfly for those warm nights. You're also not going to build near the amount of condensation inside the tent. But you can see it's got an opening on either side of it. and you are able to set up the vestibule on both sides of it. So let's go ahead and stick a few tent stakes down in this to keep it still. We'll also see what kind of tent stakes they give us here. The poles are actually very lightweight, but they're really strong. And it looks like they give us some nice high-grade aluminum stakes with this, so that's good. So let's stick a few in this just to keep it kind of still for now. All right, so we got a couple stakes in it here. Like I said, they give you some really nice high-grade aluminum stakes, super lightweight. They give you a lot of your guy lines, so you have plenty of rope for your guy lines, and plenty of extra stakes. I mean, there's enough here to do all four corners and all your vestibules and everything. So let's go ahead and get this Rainfly put on here and check out some of the vestibules and that kind of stuff. And guys, I'd also just like to note that they gave us a repair sleeve for this tent, which I think is really awesome. A lot of people are going to look at that tube when they get it out and they're going to go, what's that for? And just probably toss it to the side. This is very, very important because if you're out in the backcountry and one of these poles breaks or bends severely, that can pretty well ruin your camping or your hunting or whatever, because if that corner's down in and you're getting water in, it's just going to be a crummy time. You can slip this sleeve over top of that. It's a thick wall aluminum tube. You can slide over that, bend it back into place. You know, throw a little bit of tape on either side of it to hold it in there, and that's going to keep that tent pole straight and at least repair your damage so that you can keep on camping. All right, let's get the Rainfly over this. Now, I haven't put one of these on this tent yet, so let's get it out here. I hear it's very simple to put this on, but we will find out for sure here in just a second. All right, guys, and just a note a little bit here, it is very windy out here. I don't know if you're catching all that wind noise. I got a pretty decent mic filter on, so you're probably not. But it's pretty windy up here on the top of this knob, so it's been pretty easy with one person to stick this all together, even with it being very windy. Now, one thing I've noticed that I really like is the Rainfly is just a snap fit. So it's basically just male-female buckles that you just clip into place, which makes it super simple for on the fly, trying to hurry up and get this done. It might be raining, it's dark, you're trying to get this done by yourself. It makes it super simple to get it done. The other thing that's cool is they are color coded. So it gives you, the front two are red, have a red tab on them, the back two do not. So it lets you know which ones go to what place so that you know you're getting them in the right spot. All right, now that we have the Rainfly on, all you have to do is go around and you have your first attachment that actually hooks the Rainfly to the base of the tent, and then you have a tensioning strap up above that you can put some tension on this and get this fly nice and tight. You can go around to all the different sides and get your tension right on all 4 corners, like that. And then basically all we have to do is tent it out. We could stake out the vestibules, and we would stake out our guy lines. Now I'm not going to put the guy lines on it because we're going to be tearing this tent down here in a few minutes. But let me grab a couple stakes and let's stake out our vestibule so you can see what that looks like. All right, so all we're going to do is the bottom of our vestibule has a nice latch here. So we will pull this out tight, get as tight as we can anyway. Take our adjustment all the way out. So we're going to stake that out. And there's one over here to keep it nice and tight to the ground, which I really like. Not a whole lot of tents have multiple stake locations to keep the vestibule super tight to the ground. And that's a key feature if you're trying to stay, especially in a 4-season environment where you might be trying to use this tent when it's snowing out or when you have a really cold rain out. Getting that vestibule down tight to the ground is crucial. Now you do want a little bit of ventilation because obviously you're going to have a ton of condensation if you don't. But keeping it as tight as possible is going to keep any snow, excess rain, anything like that out. And you can see it's a pretty decent sized vestibule. We'll go ahead and open that up for you here. And as you can see, that folds in. And that's a pretty decent sized vestibule in here for keeping gear in. You're going to be able to keep backpacks, extra clothes, boots, all that kind of stuff in here. And the nice thing is too, we can even tighten this up some more here now that it's open. If you're in a scenario where you might be cooking from inside the tent because the weather's just that bad, you can actually put your cooking equipment right here, sit inside the tent, and stay for the most part pretty dry. And that's a big key feature for me. All right, guys, as you can see, I'm going to climb down into this vestibule here. And as you can see, I have plenty of room. I can actually fit inside this vestibule completely. It gives you plenty of room for storing gear, any type of equipment, like I said, cooking, your boots, anything like that. Let's unzip this tent here. And I will bring you guys inside. So, as you guys can see, there is a lot of room in here. I'm actually, kneeling down and my head's barely touching the top right here. So I can pretty well kneel and still not hit my head. If you're sitting in this tent, you have plenty of headroom. The walls actually come straight up until about this point here. And that's when they start to curve. What's nice about that is, like we said, that gives you some more head and leg room. So for the taller people, that's a big advantage. For me, not a huge deal. I'm like 5'6", so basically I fit in any tent. I'm a bigger guy, so having a 3-person tent, I can tell you right now, this is a 3-person tent. 2 people will fit comfortably. 3 people, not going to happen in my book. Only an emergency situation am I allow a 3rd person in this tent because it will be pretty snug with 2 people with gear. 2 people with no gear, yeah, you're going to have some room to move around. But the nice thing is, if you get a day where you can't get out of the tent because it's miserable out, you roll your sleeping pads up, put them in a corner, you've got plenty of room in here, play cards, just sit up to where you're not cramped. It feels like you're on top of each other all day long because you can't get out of the tent. But as you can see, we have 2 doors. We have our back door here that's partially open. Let me zip that up. And the back door has a partial vent. So we can open our vent up and get all mesh here. We can open our top vent up here that we were talking about earlier that is completely open. And our lower vent that is mesh. And what that's going to start doing is allowing a lot of airflow to come through the top vent, through the lower vent. The front door is almost completely vented. So you can open that up and have about 90% of it open as mesh. Now the cool thing is too, it's 80 degrees out today. I'm right in the middle of an open field in the sun. Is it warm in this tent? Not gonna lie, yeah, it's warm, but we're in a tent. I mean, you can't expect the Taj Mahal. But I have a nice breeze coming through because I have my one vestibule open, I have my back open. I don't have my vestibule staked down in the back, it's open, so I'm getting a pretty good cross breeze. But that just goes to show you, if you're in this scenario, you open your vestibules up in the summertime if it's not raining, You can open both of them up, open the mesh through, and I have a pretty nice cross breeze in this thing. That's one of my concerns, was going to be how ventilated it was. But I didn't want something that was too ventilated, because I do a lot of late season hunting, and I'd like to start doing some backpack hunting. And I didn't want something that in the late season I'm going to be freezing my butt off inside this tent. So if it's cold out, I can zip all this up and keep some heat in here and keep myself pretty warm in the late season. So I would say definitely a 3-season tent for sure. Maybe we'll do some testing and find out whether it's going to be a 4-season or not. Most people have claimed 3-season for sure, maybe 3.5. It's not really a full-blown winter tent, especially for those of you that live way up north. We're only in West Virginia here, so we have mild winters. But for all in all, for $300, you can't go wrong. It's got a really nice construction. It's a heavy wall construction. Even for the inner side of the tent, it's pretty thick. The Rainfly is definitely a very, very nice, thick Rainfly. And I did forget about another vent. So this actually has a vent in the Rainfly itself right here, to where we can open that. It has an arm that sticks to it, so it will open that vent up for us and allow us some more airflow in here. So I can actually reach outside that Rainfly, and I can open that completely up, and that's going to allow even more airflow through this. So that's an even better benefit. But we have some light pockets in the side here, and these are a light casting pocket, so you can stick your headlamp or any type of LED light in here. And I believe there's one right here that will kind of cast a not a super bright light. It'll just kind of cast that light nicely all over the tent. Gear pockets on both sides here and both sides in the front, so we have plenty of gear pockets. I mean, I don't usually hang a lot of gear inside my tent. They do have a gear hook here, or a light hook, and they do have some hooks on the inside here. I'm usually one of those people that I like to keep most of my gear in my backpack or in the corner of the tent, and just basically have a light, and that's about it up top. I don't like to have a whole lot of gear, because it starts putting stress on these tent poles. And when you start putting stress on that tent pole, if you get some heavy winds and stuff, that's just adding to it, and it can end up collapsing your tent. I don't see that being a problem with this tent here, because it is very, very stout. The winds are still acting up here. As you can see, the tent moving around. We've still got some pretty strong winds moving around through here, and the tent body itself is not even budging. Basically all we have is the Rainfly, the loose pieces moving around a little bit. But if I tighten those up and snug my straps down, put guy lines out, this thing would be a super solid tent. And like I said, $300. Yeah, you're going to be able to find a tent out there for $500, $600, $700 that's better than this all day long. But am I going to be able to find something that's $250, $275 that's better than this? I'm going to say I'd be pretty hard pressed to find something in that price range that's going to be any better than this. Their build quality is fantastic on it, and they pay attention to detail. You know, making those bends in the poles, making the eyelets in it so that you don't have to put it in a pocket. There's just so many things that they went, you know, above and beyond to do that a lot of companies in this price range just don't do. And Marmot has some tents that are in a higher price range, but I can see that they've used a lot of those features and a lot of the technologies into their lower end range also. So that's pretty well it, guys. It's going to be a fantastic tent, I think. I'm going to be ordering the footprint for it also to give me a little added protection from waterproofing, and I don't want to put a hole in this. So I'm going to be ordering the footprint for it also. They run about $30 online, and it clips right to the tent base. So it is actually made for this, clips right to the tent base. So there's no guesswork, there's no trying to pin it down. You know, it clips right on, so that's really nice. And then we are going to be out here soon doing some overnight camping and showing you some other camping equipment. So I thank you guys for joining me today. Sorry if this has been a little sketchy here. This is my first time ever doing a tent review. So hopefully this goes well, and hopefully you guys will join us for our future camping adventures. And I thank you guys for watching Big T Outdoors. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.